beautiful people. So today's video, I am starting a series of Mommy Talk Mondays. Yes, Mommy Talk Mondays. So for those of you that do not know, I am a mommy of two beautiful babies. I have a 3-year-old boy and I have an almost 6-month-old baby girl. Every Monday I will post a video of Mommy Talk Mondays, and we can talk about anything, you know. Nothing's really off limits, you know. I'm trying to make sure that my channel is as 100%. Let me just do it. So here I am. I'm doing it. I'm coming at you. I'm in my natural state. I have no makeup on. My hair is not done. I'm in a sports bra like I am pretty much 90% of the time. So I'm coming at you 100% real. So this episode, I want to talk about, what do I want to talk? There's so much I want to talk about. Okay, so we'll talk about the first topic that pretty much any mom can relate to is labor. We'll talk about that. So like I said before, I have 2 kids. So both of my labors and pregnancies were different. I want to say my labors were completely different, but my pregnancies were pretty much the same. For both pregnancies, I was very sick. Like, what's that? I had that throw up disease. I don't know how to say it, so I'm not even gonna try. And it was horrible. With my son, I threw up every day, multiple times a day, until I gave birth to him. Like, it let up a little bit, but I was still constantly throwing up, and it was hard. It was like, I thought pregnancy was just gonna be this, I'm not gonna lie, I thought pregnancy was just gonna be this easy walk through the park type of thing. You know, I'm gonna be pretty, I'm gonna have this glow, I'm not gonna gain, well, I didn't really gain weight, but you know, the usual you don't think, because when I got pregnant with my son, I was 21, 22. I had him when I was 22, so yeah, I was 22 because I got pregnant right after my birthday. So, you know, I'm going into that still with the mindset like, oh, I'm young, you know, I'm naive and I don't know any better, so I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was gonna be a breeze to walk in the park, you know, I'm gonna be this fancy pregnant lady, and it wasn't like that. I didn't want to wear clothes at all. I was pretty much naked 90% of the time unless I had to leave the house. Then of course I had to put on clothes or I could go to jail. I threw up all day, and I'm gonna tell you this, you know, I'm not gonna keep no secrets really. You know, it's not nothing that, I don't know how you feel about this, but I was so sick I couldn't take any oral medicine to like slow down throwing up, so I had to take medicine up my butt. I'm being real. I had to take medicine up my butt 3 times a day. And guess who was the person who did that 3 times a day? My husband. He's the real MVP. Every day when he got up for PT in the morning, he gave me my medicine. When he came home from lunch, he gave me my medicine. And when he got off of work, he gave me my medicine. That's how you know that that is true love, because that man did not hesitate. He did not, you know, say, ew, I'm not gonna do that. He was like, come on, let's do it, let's knock it out, we got this. And he did it with no problems. I didn't have to ask him. I apologized so many times. I'm like, I'm so sorry you have to do this. And my husband was like, don't worry about it. You're my wife, you're having my baby, I'm gonna do everything I can for you. So I said, you know, I can't argue with that, you know. So he did it every day for 9 months. Yeah. So, you know, I give my husband that trophy because he was the real one, because me, I couldn't have done it. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm very OCD, so I'm not, no, I can't. But I give him his props. He did that for me and he's amazing. But so getting to the, well, I'll just say the other symptoms that I had. My hips were uneven my whole entire pregnancy. I felt like, so like say these are my hips and they're supposed to be even. I felt like, was it my left or my right? My left was like this. So I always felt like uneven, and it hurt so bad. Like there was just days I did not want to get up out of the bed. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to grocery shop. You know, I didn't go to school that year because it was just so hard. Like I wasn't even going to be able to focus to get good grades in school, that I just kind of took off the whole year. And then coming towards the labor, now that, I will say this, the labor part I can do, it's the pregnancy part I cannot do. Pregnancy does not agree with me whatsoever. But I will get in a hospital bed and be ready to push that baby out, because that to me, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much as me being pregnant for 9 months and going through all the symptoms that I went through. You know, being dehydrated, malnourished, having IVs hooked up to me because I can't keep any food or liquid down. You know, I'd rather be in a hospital bed. And with my son, I was in a hospital bed for 20 hours. I was in labor for 20 hours. 20 hours. 20 hours. And 16 of those hours, I had no meds whatsoever. I was doing it like a champ. Until he got on a nerve on my left side, and it completely like set my body into like, I want to say like a shock. Like my blood pressure went up. I was having a hard time breathing because I have asthma, so they had to, you know, put an oxygen mask on me, and the pain hurt so bad I couldn't breathe through it, so I wasn't breathing, which was making him, you know, act crazy in there because I'm not breathing in the oxygen that he needed. So it was crazy. Like, if I had to choose which labor I would go through again, I would go through my daughter's labor any day, hands down. My son's labor was horrible. I was in a bed for 20 hours. They didn't really, I don't even really think I asked, but I stated it in my labor delivery plan that I wanted to walk, use a bouncy ball and all that, but we never really did any of that stuff that I had wrote down that I wanted to do. I stayed in a bed for 20 hours. I didn't get up, I didn't move. I probably switched from side to side, you know, just to get the pain to shift sides. What else? But I did have a midwife that delivered Jalen, and she was awesome. So my pregnancy with her was pretty much the same like Jalen's, except for I didn't do the medicine 3 times a day because I live in Germany, so they really try not to give you medicine or anything like that. So everything is pretty base natural. He did hook me up to some IVs to help, you know, with the throwing up, but after I think I had it like 4 times, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna suck it up and just throw up everything for whatever, how long I have to do it, I'm gonna do that. So with her, I just stopped the whole IV process of getting whatever medicine he was giving me through the IVs to help me. And with Kaylani, I was working full time. So I was working and going to school full time. With Jalen, I didn't do that because I was just so sick. This time I tried to like tough it out as best as I can, even though I was at work throwing up my guts. But I'm glad that I worked with women that understood and, you know, catered to me, spoiled me just a little bit, fed me really good. So, you know, it was a little bit easier. So when I got to 32 weeks, we found out Kaylani was breech. If you don't know what breech is, it just means that instead of her head being down, it was up and her feet were down. So this is my stomach. Her head was here, her feet were here. And when you deliver a baby, it's best to have their head down here and their feet up here. In my case, she was not like that. When the doctor told me that she was breech, I was like confused because I didn't know what that was. I never really heard it. I've heard it before, but I never really like educated myself on it, so I didn't know much about it. So he was like, it's okay, she still has time to turn, you're gonna be all right, she's gonna be all right, everything looks normal, she looks normal, she's growing, she's healthy, she's a little small, which I knew. That I was a little worried, but because he reassured me that she had plenty of time to turn, she was going to turn most likely, you know, I wasn't too worried. Then when I kept getting more checkups and she was still in the same position, I was getting even more worried, because I was like, oh my God, like, what if she doesn't turn? What are they gonna do? So, you know, I asked my doctor, I was like, well, what if she doesn't turn? Like, what happens then? Now he was like, well, most likely you would have to have a C-section if your doctor does not feel comfortable delivering her in that position. When he told me I would have to get cut open, that freaked me out, because one, I've never had major surgery. Two, I am very terrified of hospitals. I don't like hospitals. I've had bad experiences in hospitals. You know, I've seen loved ones be in hospital. I hate the smell of hospital. I associate hospitals with death, point blank period. I just do. And for me, unless it necessarily had to happen, if I could deliver her perfectly fine and healthy the way she is, then that's what I was gonna aim for, because my goal this time around was to do everything as natural as possible. Because with Jalen, I did for the 16 hours that I could, and then I got an epidural because him going on my nerve, they had to, you know, suppress the issue and calm me down and calm him down, so that way his, you know, heart rate and all that would be normal again. I don't think I could do that. Like, I don't want to do it unless it really has to happen. But I told him, if I can deliver her the way that she is, perfectly fine, and there's no complications or nothing, that is what I want to do. Because this time around, I know how being in labor feels. I know how the contractions feel. I know how the aftermath of all of it feels. And I felt that I can go through it without any interference whatsoever. I just wanted it to be as natural as possible. So since I knew the pain and how I knew how it was gonna hurt, I could do it. I could put myself through it because I know I can handle it. Because I'm one of those people that rather take the pain than get any type of surgery, any type of medication, or any of that. My doctor reassured me that, you know, she was small enough and healthy enough that I could deliver her. I just needed to find a hospital that was confident in delivering a breech baby. So when I found that out, I had to like go to different hospitals to ask and whatever. I decided my hospital visits, I went to different hospitals, and the hospital I ended up delivering her at, the head doctor, he was like, oh, you can deliver her. She's perfect, she's small, she has enough fluid around her, her cord is not around her neck, it's positioned properly that I can see it. He said, who told you you had to have a C-section? I was like, well, that's what they told me. And he was like, no, if you want to have a natural delivery, you can have a natural delivery as long as there's no complication, which there wasn't for me or her. So I was like, okay, great. You know, you're giving me exactly what I want. When we went to the hospital to deliver her, my water didn't break, but I was having contractions because I was out running errands, and I was at the gas station, and I was like, oh my God, my stomach hurts so bad. So I told my husband, I'm like, hey, get the car packed up. We're ready to go. She's ready to come. And so once we got to the hospital, they examined me and all that, and then like the contractions slowed down, and I was so pissed because this was the second time that I had went into the hospital thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna come out with a baby. The first time, wrong. The second time, they were like, okay, well, your contractions are not strong enough to have a baby. And I was like, what do you mean? I feel like I'm in hell. She's like, no, you see this little peak? That's it. So I was like, damn. I was like, okay. So I called my mom on FaceTime, and I was just like, Mom, I don't think I'm having a baby today or whatever, and I'm kind of pissed off, and they want me to stay because they wanted me to stay because Kaylani's breech. So if I did end up going to, you know, labor, they wanted me to be right there so that they could, you know, help us. And my mom was like, just stay. If they're telling you to stay, that means it's important for you to stay. So of course I took my mom's advice and I stayed the night. And I'm glad I did, because at 12 o'clock in the morning, my contractions were so intense. Like, they weren't like a, oh my gosh, I was dying type of thing. It was an annoying pain. Like, I had to like press my feet at the end of the bed just to like put some of the pressure in another place so that I didn't have to feel the contractions as much. So I called my husband, because I sent him home, because I'm like, I'm not having a baby. Go home, you know, watch Jalen. And I called him. I said, hey, my contractions are really intense, so I might be having a baby here in the next few hours. So if you want to come in the next couple hours, you can. So my husband got there, I want to say about 6. So I think my husband came around 6-ish, 7 o'clock. And the contractions got even more intense, and I was like, oh my God. So I rang the button for the nurse girl. I said, they hurt really bad. She monitored me. She saw that they were spiking up and up, and I was like, yes, finally. And then she's like, okay, we're gonna make you wait for a little bit, because she didn't check my cervix, but she said they're gonna wait for the doctor. They want me to go downstairs, let the doctor examine her again before I deliver her, to make sure her cord wasn't around her neck, and to make sure that she had still enough fluid around her. She wasn't, you know, nothing was, you know, abnormal. They wanted to make sure everything was normal before I pushed. So they sent me downstairs. He examined me, examined her. She still looked good. Her cord was still in a good position. She still had all her fluids around her. I wasn't bleeding or anything like that. And she was okay. Her heartbeat was okay. And so he checked me, and he's like, oh, you're at 6 centimeters. I was like, for real? She was like, yeah, you're getting there. I was like, yes. Because when they originally checked me, they said I was almost 2. And I was like, how am I almost 2? I was at 2 for like the last freaking month. And then, so he checked me, I was 6 centimeters. So he was like, okay, you got a few more centimeters to go, and then we'll start pushing. So he sent me back to my room, and the contractions kept coming. So around that time, they came and got me. I want to say about 8:40, 9 o'clock, they came and got me to take me to the delivery room. And so when I got there, I met my midwife. She was an older lady, blonde hair, very nice lady. She was so sweet to me. She was like, I'm sorry, my English is not so well. And I was like, it's okay, my German is not so well, so we're gonna make this work. So she hooked us up. They made me undress. I had my hair up in a bun, looking like a hot mess. And then, you know, she saw the contraction. She's like, okay, they're getting closer. And I was like, okay. And so she was like, okay, I'm gonna leave you for a little bit to, you know, let your body do what it needs to do. I'm gonna go help this other lady, because there was another lady next door to me giving birth, and I could hear, because they had like this sliding door, so like they can go in and out pretty quickly. So you know, so the way the bed is faced, it was faced towards this big window, and it was hot as balls. And I was like, oh my God, it's so hot. I was like sweating. I felt like a crackhead. I really did. Like, I had the shakes, I was sweating, I was like gripping Keith, and I was like, oh my God, Keith, take off my sock, take off my sock. He was like, what? I was like, take off my sock. And he took one sock off, and then he was gonna go to take the other sock, and I was like, no. I freaked out. I was like, if you don't put that other sock back on, I just only wanted one sock. And it was crazy. So then the doctor came. He's like, okay, you're ready to push. I was like, thank God. And so I push. Keith is holding me, she's holding me, he's down there doing what he needs to do. And so she's like pushing down on my stomach just a little bit, because when you carry a breech baby, they're not low as they need to be. They're up here. So she was like up here under my boobs. And I have a very small torso. Like, my stomach is about this big. So she was like really underneath my ribs, in my ribs under my boobs. So she had to like push her down a little bit. And then while I was pushing, so it didn't really hurt because she didn't do it hard, but she just helped manipulate the system so that Kaylani would like push down. And I gave it a good few pushes, and the doctor's like, at one point I was like, I can't do this, sir, I can't do it. And he was like, you can do this. And I was like, I pushed down so hard, and then I felt his finger go like this, and my vagina was like, doop, and her feet popped right out. And he's like, okay, I want you to do one more big push and she's gonna come. So I pushed, and he had to take his finger for her head to come out, because like her feet came out, then her stomach came out, her butt came out, but her head was there, stuck. And so he had to take his finger and go like this on the lining of my vagina, and that hurt so bad. I wanted to die. Like, nobody ever told me about the ring of fire. I did not know when you push out a baby natural that you would feel this burning sensation. Oh my God, it was horrible. But I got through it. I did it, and I got through it, and I would do it again. Honestly, if my husband decides that he wants to have another baby, I would do this whole process over again. It was hard, but it was so rewarding, because after I had her, I was like, damn, I just gave birth to a baby feet first with no meds. Feet first, no meds. And I just felt like fucking Superwoman after that. Like the experience was so, I feel like that was like the best birth that I probably could have. So if you have a crazy birth story, please let me know at the comments below. I'm gonna try and stick with these videos. Every Monday we're gonna have a mommy talk. So next Monday it could be about whatever we go through as women, as moms. But you know, thank y'all for listening to my stories. Please don't judge me too harshly. Thank y'all for listening. I hope you guys come back.